Welcome to Beer and Iron's How to Beer Brine a Whole Chicken Recipe. Brining is a method to infuse meat with flavor. The salt's going to be drawn into that meat through this process. Along with that salt, flavors are going to follow, along with other flavors that you may add to that brine. Think of the salt as the Pied Piper and the beer as the children. Now, as you well know, not all beers are created equal. Different flavors and different types for different needs. They come in different sizes as well. Just as much as beer is not created equal, neither is salt. There's flaky salt, rock salt, large grind salt, and fine grind salt. There's plenty of internet resources out there that tell me that a tablespoon of salt should weigh about 15 to 17 grams. What surprises me is this coarse ground salt weighs more than this fine grind salt. The smaller particles should occupy more airspace in the same volume and therefore should weigh more than the coarse ground salt, but that's not always the case. My suggestion is to stick with the same salt each and every time you create a brine. Now we're ready to make this brine. I want you to get a large enough bowl to hold that whole chicken in that zipper bag. We're going to use a zipper bag for this process, a 2.5 gallon zipper bag. You want that chicken to remain under that brine, and that zipper bag will confine that chicken and that brine, just like newlyweds in a honeymoon suite. Not all beer comes in 12-ounce cans or bottles, so don't measure per your can or bottle. Just remember the 1 tablespoon of salt to 12 ounces of beer ratio. You'll need to do a little bit of math if you're using beer that's not in a 12-ounce serving can or bottle, just like this gigantic Modelo. As far as what beer to use in this recipe, stick with the beer that is mild and easy to drink on your first few chicken brines. Get this saltiness down perfect, and then experiment with other beers. Now look at us, swapping it up here. We've got a bottle of beer now. Just remember the 1 tablespoon of salt to 12 ounces of beer ratio. That's the starting point. Now go ahead and add that salt. Now when you pour that salt into that beer is going to foam up or fizz like a 5th grader's volcano science experiment. And it's going to seem like there's a whole lot of salt there. This is a brine, and it is S-A-L-T-Y, salty. The saltiness of the brine influences the saltiness of the meat, but how salty the brine tastes is not how salty the meat's gonna taste. Far from it. Use this time to slosh things around and mix that salt in real good. All you have to do now is drop that chicken into that bag of brine. Now go ahead and zip up that bag, and just before zipping that bag all the way up, go ahead and get all that air out. Draw it out of the side of that little hole and zip that bag closed. Go ahead and make a horseshoe turn on that zipper part. Then use a little clip, like a chip clip, to keep it in that turned position. The opening will stay upright easier and reduce the brine from finding its way out of that bag. Now let that chicken brine for 1 to 5 days. Yes, 1 to 5 days. That's a wide span. But make note of how long you brine that chicken, because time in that brine will influence the saltiness. Now look at there, we're almost done. But to keep things simple and to have some culinary closure, let's go ahead and roast this chicken and see how it turns out. Moist and juicy is the goal. Tell me I'm wrong. Most chickens from the market will fit in a 5-quart cast iron Dutch oven. Now you'll have to make your own for a taste test, but I do want to show you the moisture this chicken will hold on to. And that moisture will have hints of beer you used. But all in all, that moisture will taste like chicken and not like beer you brined with. The beer and salt enhance the flavor of the chicken, but does not make the chicken taste like beer. That is, unless you used a beer that didn't complement that chicken, like a sweet porter or a sour, maybe even something like a pumpkin. Now, I hope you enjoyed this beer and iron recipe. My name is Sule, and I love to share the magic of my black pots and pans. If you enjoyed this recipe and want to keep up with the going-ons here at beerandiron.com, be sure to click that little thumb, hit that little subscribe button, and don't forget that little bell. This is a recipe that I'm going to reference on many of my other recipes here on beerandiron.com. And the roasted chicken is an ingredient for so many other recipes. This video goes hand in hand with the article and the recipe on beerandiron.com. You all enjoy this. Let me know how it turned out. We'll see you next time here on beerandiron.com. Y'all enjoy.